Ashley, and I love horses. I'm a lifelong horse owner and spent over 10 years working professionally in the horse industry. Today, we're going to count down my top 10 favorite horse breeds. To make my top 10, I mostly ranked them based on three different factors. So, first of all, appearance. Second, sort of usability, like how much you can use them for specific sports or activities or whatever type of thing you want to do. And then third, temperament. I've been lucky enough to work with almost all of these breeds in real life, and where I don't think you can judge a whole breed based on just one horse. Most of these breeds, I worked with multiple of them, or was in sort of their industry. So I kind of have based it on general characteristics of the breed. There's always exceptions to the rule, but generally, this is where I felt that they ranked for my personal taste. I will also just say that there are some breeds specifically not mentioned that I have some experience with. And it's not that I didn't like those breeds or some of the individuals that I worked with. It was more that I just didn't like them as much as a rule, kind of, or in general, as the ones that made it on the list. So that's all I have to say. And let's go. Number 10, the Peruvian Peso. Growing up, I had a neighbor that had some horses, and most of them were old, retired camp horses. So me and my friend would go to her house sometimes and ride the horses, and she had some Peruvian pesos. I really liked these horses. They were super chill. They were exactly what you would want in camp horses. They were calm, they were steady, they were easy to do things with. They weren't super energetic, and you weren't gonna probably compete on them, but just general good trail horses. And so I don't have a ton of experience with the breed other than that, which is why I put them at number 10. But I remember I really liked those, and just watching the videos that I'm putting in this video, they seem like good representatives of the breed. Sure-footed, small size, really accessible for a lot of people. So that's why the Peruvian Peso is my number 10. Number 9, the Fjord. And I hope that I'm saying that right. Now, I have only seen, I think, one or two fjords in real life when I worked at the veterinary hospital. And I don't care because I think they are so cute. I like them so much. I don't really love pony type breeds, but I really like this one because they have that cool coloring. They're so distinctive. I like that they are small, they are compact, they're strong, and they just have like really cute faces too. So that's also why I only put them at number 9, because my ranking of them is based mostly on appearance. But yeah, I think they're so cute, and I'd love to see more of them in real life. That's why the Fjord horse is my number 9. Number 8, the Lipizzaner. So I've read these as Lipizzaner or Lipizan. I say Lipizzaner, but I think it's whatever, same difference. And I saw them perform once when I was a kid. They came through our city, or at least that's what we were told. Like, I was a kid, so I think that's which ones they were. I just think they're so beautiful. They're so graceful. The ones that are part of the famous Lipizzaner stallions are so well trained, and they always keep them so clean. And so I just like the look of them. I would love to work with one in real life. This is probably the one other than the Fjord that are based mostly on appearance. So, but it's my list and I can do whatever I want. That's why the Lipizzaner is my number 8. Number 7, the standard bred. Now, I have worked with a few standardbreds in real life, and I actually almost adopted one. There was one that one of my jobs was thinking about getting rid of, and I really strongly considered it. He actually ended up going to one of my friends, so I'm happy he got a good home. The ones I've worked with have been fairly steady, but kind of big personalities, and I think that's maybe a racehorse type thing. The big, expressive personalities, kind of busy, like lots of energy, looking for something to do. And I like that type of horse. I like a horse with personality. I like a horse that is kind of interested in what's going on. I also like their build. I like a taller horse, longer legs, that they just have that athletic look about them. I have ridden standardbreds in real life a little bit too, not a ton, but a bit, enough to experience the gated sort of way that they run. Proven pesos are kind of like that too. I don't think you could pay me enough money in the world to get into one of those little carts behind them. I'm sure it's like an adrenaline rush, but yeah, I don't think that's for me. But I really like the breed for all those reasons. And so that's why standardbred is my number seven. Number six, Mustangs. Now, I actually have never seen wild horses in the wild. I probably have a bit of a controversial opinion that I don't think that horses should be in the wild. They are not good for the ecosystem, from what I understand. And I think that nature can be very cruel, and that generally we can give them better homes if they were in captivity. But just my opinion, I don't make any of the policies around it, and I'm not the most informed person about it. So just to put all that out there. I do think that the people who train Mustangs and kind of the Mustang training challenge sort of niche is so interesting, and those people do a great job. I think if they can take those horses out of the wild and give them good homes, then that is a really good thing. And I think they can make really good mounts as well, because they're so um, hardy and healthy and like sure-footed, and they're used to the elements, that all those things can make them really good trail horses and ranch horses. And they're not going to win any kind of races or jumping competitions, but they can really show up well in sort of that trail and recreational area. I have one friend who has a Mustang, and he was never wild, I don't think. I think he was bred in captivity. But yeah, he kind of had that Mustang look about him. And I thought he was really cool. And I'd love a chance to work with some more of them in the future. Also, I was probably right about the right age when Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron came out. So I have to say that I do love the whole Wild West like romance of Mustangs and all that goes along with that, which isn't the most practical, but it's still a factor. And it's part of why I put Mustangs as number six. Number five, the paint horse. I mean, I live in Western Canada, so I've got to put the paint horse on my list. They're sort of like basically a quarter horse, but more flashy, more to look at, more interesting. Although maybe the quarter horse people would disagree with me on some of that. For me, a paint is sort of like you wanted a quarter horse, but you wanted also some color and something fancy to look at, so you went with a paint. I think quarter horses are a very wide range of sizes and shapes, whereas I think paints are sort of like a subset of that, the stockier kind, the more like ranch worky type version of a quarter horse. And I think, I'm not a historian, I think that's where they sort of were stemmed from. But I do love the variation. I like all the different coat colors. I think being a paint breeder is probably so fun because each foal is going to look a little bit different. And I think that they can make really good recreational horses, and they can kind of do a little bit of everything if you want. I have worked with so many, lots of them that were really good and generous, good horses. But I think that people can sometimes get tricked. They want like a fancy looking horse, and so they'll buy it for color, but they maybe forget to look at personality and whether that horse actually suits them or not. So I think that people need to keep that in mind when they're horse shopping. I love paints though, for the most part. I think they are great, everybody all around horses, and fun to look at too. So that is why I ranked paint as my number five. Number four, the Andalusian. If I had to pick one of the Spanish type horses, I would pick Andalusian every time. I think they look so beautiful. They're so fancy. They have the thick neck and stocky body. So they're well suited for what they were bred for, which was in old world Spain and Portugal. To me, they carry some of that sort of European flavor. I like that they have the thick neck. They can have a bit of the Roman nose, but not necessarily always. but they also still retain a lot of that athleticism. I've seen some in real life. The ones we have here in Western Canada are probably not the breed standard that you would see if you were in Europe, but I still really like them. I like their size. They are tall, they're big. I like those ones, but they're not super tall that people like have a hard time riding them. Probably any adult amateur is going to be able to do whatever they want to do with them. And then of course the mane and tail always looks beautiful as well. So that general look and then a nice temperament and a bit of the history and historical sort of look are all the reasons why I put the Andalusian as my number 4. Number 3, you've been waiting for it. I'm sure you could have guessed it was coming. The quarter horse. If you're a Western rider, the quarter horse is going to be your go-to breed and your best suited breed to do well in any of the Western disciplines. So yes, you can use a paint. Yes, you can use a pony. Yes, you can use a Peruvian, but a quarter horse is going to be the best optimum choice basically every time if you want to actually compete in any Western events or rodeo or actually work out on the ranch and work cattle. They obviously have the association with cowboys and the West and ranching, and I love all of that. And they're so good at it because they are strong, they're athletic, they have good cow sense usually. They're small, so you aren't going to be reaching your foot up really high or need a mounting block to get on if you have to jump off because you have to doctor a calf or something. And I think also their variety is really cool too. So there's the ranch ones, there's the halter ones, there's the racing quarter horses. I have 2 quarter horses, and one is quite tall. He's about 16 hands. He's quite lanky. I've had people ask me if he has racing quarter horse lines. And then the other one is kind of the opposite. She's like 14.2 hands and is more of the stocky, compact mare. So very different horses in that way, but yet they're still in the same breed. And that's just because there is a lot of variation in quarter horses. I remember when I started working at the veterinary hospital, they got a lot of referrals because there were specialist veterinarians there. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to get to see so many cool different horse breeds. But then it was just quarter horse, quarter horse, quarter horse, quarter horse. It was like 75% quarter horses. And I guess that's because we're in Western Canada. That's just what's out here. But such a good all around horse. Great attitudes, lots of willing to work. They're meant to be stable. There's no drama, there's no excitement. They're just stable. And like I said earlier, I kind of like horses with a little bit of personality or a little bit of mischief. So the quarter horse is a little bit steady Eddie, and I love that, of course. But I did only put them as number 3, but never go wrong with a quarter horse. Number 2, the warm blood. Okay, I kind of cheated on this one because, again, where I am, like a warm blood's a warm blood is a warm blood. Most warm bloods around here are a mix of a bunch of different ones. My warm blood, he's registered Canadian warm blood, but he's like a quarter thoroughbred, a quarter Freelander or something, whatever that one is called. He's a quarter Oldenburg, I think, and quarter like Holstein or something like that. That might be wrong, but yeah. So they're generally kind of a mix, a general sport horse. So that's why I'm getting away with just saying warm blood in general. If I had to pick some specifically, I really like an Oldenburg. I like also a Hanoverian, and I like a Dutch warm blood. I like a Danish warm blood. So I just like that athleticism. I like that they are tall. I like that they are strong. I like that you can use them for jumps or dressage or just trail riding too. To me, that aesthetic look is what I really like. I've said it many times already in this video, the athleticism and the ability to use them to do different sports and to do different things, but also to just kind of have some chill time too, is what I really like. I know they don't have the reputation for being the smartest of the breeds. I know some people who would call them dumb bloods, and I don't mind that. I don't like a horse that's smarter than me. I like a horse that is just kind of has that innocence about them. My warm blood, I mean, sometimes you can just see the wheels kind of turning in his head. And so I like that kind of about them, that they have that try and that trust that they're trying to understand. And I just think that is so cute and endears me to them, sort of. I also have found that a lot of warm bloods, like they'll work really hard for you, but then they also just can have very sweet personalities. I mean, obviously, the ones that compete at high levels are going to have more intense personalities, but generally, the ones I've worked with, the ones sort of in the amateur circuit, can be just such really nice horses. They look great, they have nice personalities, you can do a lot with them. So, for all those reasons, check, check, check. I pick warm blood as my number two. Now, before I get to number one, which I'm curious if you have guessed it, I want to talk about my honorable mentions. These are the ones that I like for various reasons, but I just don't like them enough to put them on the top 10, or there were just too many sort of caveats that I couldn't put them on my top 10. So here we go. First of all, the Frisian, very beautiful. I love a fancy black horse. They've been used in tons of movies, but I've had some pretty negative experiences with them in real life. And I do think that a lot of the lines have been bred fairly irresponsibly. So, next, Percheron. I don't love draft horses. If I have to pick a draft horse breed, though, Percheron is it. I love the black ones, not the gray ones so much. Uh, maybe I just really like shiny black horses. Not sure. And last, the Marwari. I think they're so crazy with their ears. It's very cute. The rest of them sometimes is put together a little bit weird. So I think the good versions of them are so cool, but there's some that I definitely have seen to look a little weird. Okay, it is time for my number one favorite horse breed, the Thoroughbred. I've been a horse racing fan for a really long time. I always wanted to get an off the track thoroughbred, but after I started working at our local racetrack, I thought I'm going to be very picky about getting a thoroughbred because I saw all different kinds. I did end up with my thoroughbred, who I've now had for over 10 years, and he's been a really great horse for me. And I've also had the opportunity to work with a lot of thoroughbreds not on the track. I love their personalities, I like their energy. I like their bit of drama. I like that they can be so sweet, and they're generally, though, fairly intelligent, at least average intelligence. I like that they are very willing to work for you. I love how athletic they are. They can do a lot of things. You can race them, of course. You can jump them. You can dressage. You can trail ride. You can do a little bit of Western. You can just use them for yourself, for your kid. Like, they're so versatile. And I think that given the right training, and if you can take all of that energy and point it in a direction, I think they can be really good horses for most people. I think that if you are going to bring back a thoroughbred off the track, you should make sure you know what you're doing. It shouldn't be your first horse, because there's a lot of training still there to do. But if you are fairly experienced with horses and you want to give training a horse a go, mostly from scratch, a thoroughbred's not a bad one to pick. They've already been backed, so that helps, but don't trust that they have any other buttons. I love watching all the Triple Crown races every year, hearing the stories, and those horses are just beautiful in best racing shape. They are strong, they are lean, they're well filled out, and I think they're so beautiful. I just love the way they look. I love their personalities in general, and of course, my favorite horse of all time, Secretariat, was a thoroughbred and the best of them, if you ask me. I think most people would agree with me. I love Secretariat. And if you haven't seen the movie, you definitely should go watch it. So, because of all of this, their looks, their temperament, their versatility. The Thoroughbred is my number one favorite horse breed. Now, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? What's your top favorite horse breed and why? I would love to hear. If you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel. A little while ago, I did my top 5 favorite barrel racers, so check that video out. If you are having a nice spring where you are, I hope you get a chance to go outside this weekend, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.